All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first edition of The Branch Report, a podcast discussion designed to keep you informed on all things Flowery Branch High School athletics. I'm Ethan Banks, and I'm joined today by my co-host and Flowery Branch High School Athletic Director, Jimmy Lawler. We're podcasting today from the beautiful dining room of the Stonebridge Village Chick-fil-A right here in Flowery Branch. We appreciate all the support from Frank and Tyler Harney and the fine folks of the Chick-fil-A family, keeping our Falcons fed and fueled for game time. They've been doing that for 23 years, everyone, so give Frank and Tyler some love out there. Stonebridge Village, Chick-fil-A. All right, Jimmy, take it away and introduce our special guest for today's inaugural episode.
Thank you, Ethan. We appreciate, again, Frank and Tyler letting us come and occupy their space today. But we're joined by Flowery Branch High School new head football coach, Michael Perry. Coach, I'm sure a lot of people here know you, have heard you speak a little bit, but tell some people who aren't familiar with Michael Perry, kind of your coaching background and what led you to Flowery Branch.
Yeah, so I'm a Hall County native, born here. I'm from Gainesville. That's where I broke my teeth coaching. I was assistant coach there for a while with Bruce Miller, be in the Hall of Fame one day. Won a state championship 2012, blessed to be a part of that. After that, I went down to Coffee down in South Georgia, get the South Georgia experience. Worked for another Hall of Fame coach in Robbie Pruitt, who he's 4 games away. Coach Pruitt is he'll be the only coach in the United States who's won 200 games in 2 different states. That's where Tyreek Hill played too, the Cheetah. So got to be a head coach after that at Centennial High School. Great experience, a lot of great kids. I got several kids from Centennial right now that are still playing college and getting ready for the draft. Max Brosmer, quarterback at Minnesota. Jack Barton, defensive end at UConn, who has a chance to get drafted as well. Julian Nixon, he's a tight end at ULM at Louisiana. So I had a lot of good players there, and then got the opportunity to go to East Hall, get back in Hall County and work for Mr. Jeff Cooper. And so I had a lot of fun with that too. Then I got to go up to the mountains, be at Union County. Knew C.T. Hushin, the principal there, worked with him for a long time, and had a great time. It's a beautiful place, but a great place. A lot of great people, and it was tough to leave. But when Flowery Branch called, I knew where I had to go. So.
Thank you, Coach. Ethan?
So I'm going to take you back old school a little bit. Before you started coaching,
Yeah.
Obviously your time playing on the field, you saw lots of different coaches. You've experienced coaching from lots of different people who have poured into you over the years.
Right.
How does being that football player in high school kind of direct you as the type of football coach you wanted to be?
Well, back then, we do a lot of stuff back then we can't do now. We had literally, like in the summer, we'd have 4-day practice when we go to football camp. Guys would probably die if they did that now. But just the experience of going through it, winning, losing, know what it takes to win, be a part of a successful program. There's nothing like it. I love all sports.
Yeah.
I really do. But there's nothing like football.
Yeah.
All 11 guys on that field from that unit have to be lockstep in key the whole time for the play to work. And if one guy messes up, it's not going to work, Whereas other sports, I wouldn't necessarily say you'd have to have that. But that's what I love about the game. The friendships I had playing high school ball, I'm still best friends with the guys I played high school ball with. That's why I do this.
So obviously, football builds character. You, from the gridiron, you're looking for leadership in the hallways. You're looking for it in the cafeteria. You're looking for it certainly in the classroom, but on the field as well. How would you define excellence when you talk about football players? What are you looking for as a coach?
So the biggest thing is, we want to be connecting people in a positive way in all ways. And, Pete, there's all kind of coaching jobs going around in high school right now, college, NFL, and everybody's going to talk about culture. Well, to me, culture is how does an individual act? How do you interact with your teammates and other people that aren't even on your team? And then how do you deal when something bad happens? How do you react? That's what culture is. And to me, if you're able to deal with those and handle that, you'll go very far in this life.
I was going to say, so when the chips are down and you're talking to your players, one of those situations obviously is when you're down at halftime. What are you saying to a team who's down, being outplayed at the moment at halftime? What are you doing there? And then what do you say to a team after a loss?
Yeah, one of the biggest things during a game when you're going through struggles, it's any team that's ever coached with me, they know they're going to get sick of me saying it all the time, but snap and clear. Football it's one play at a time, and you have to be so ingrained in that play that the only thing matters at that given time is that play in time and space. And when it's over, you have no control to change anything. So now it's about what's the next play. So what's the formation? What's the call? What's my job? How am I not going to let the guy beside me down? And that's, I think, the biggest thing. And then, you're going to lose sometimes. And when you lose, you have to take individual accountability for it and talk about, hey, what can we do better? What do we have to fix collectively? What do we have to do as an individual player so we don't get in this position again? I think losing, the one good thing about it, I'll say, is it teaches you more than you'll ever get when you win. And you see who's with you. Ray Lewis, one of the best things I ever heard him say was, he talked about you always knew when you were losing, like who you could really count on. When you're bet down and the score got out of hand, you saw who really cared about the team, who really mattered, who bled with this. And so you can learn a lot from that. Now, we don't want to do that too much, but that's what I take out of that.
Football is such a great sport. It always reveals character.
Right.
What's happening on the gridiron, what's happening in the locker room. Obviously, it's going to reveal the character that you're building as a head football coach and that you're instilling in these young men.
Right.
These young men are going to be leaders in the locker room. They're going to be leaders on the field. They're going to be leaders in their class. They're eventually going to be leaders of their homes when they grow up. And so, obviously, if we're pouring in, what are some attributes that you want to pour into these students, these young players, these men, to prepare them for that role one day?
So we have a decent group of guys right here sitting in front of me right here. And I mean this with all my heart. I want them 5, 10, 15 years down the road to still be in contact with these guys and have a bond that they know when something bad happens and something bad's going to happen to them in life, that they can call the guy next to them and they know they can count on them and depend on them.
Yeah, Jimmy, so we've got a large group of our class of 2026 football players. What would you like them to hear from their head football
great.
coach?
That's a wonderful turnout. We've got the seniors, the majority of the seniors from the upcoming seniors from the Flowery Branch football team sitting here and listening to Coach Perry, and a great turnout. And I appreciate you guys coming. But so we had, Coach, some people send in some questions. And one of the questions, and I'm sure these guys will be very anxious to hear this, is so now that you're the head coach and you'll be in the building in about a month,
right.
Tell me the process of building your staff. How are you getting in contact, or people getting in contact with you, and what are you looking for in your assistant coaches?
So I'll tell you one thing about Flowery Branch. My phone doesn't stop ringing. The people, it's a great place to be, and I can honestly say, it's not a problem trying to fill a staff at all, because, you can ask my wife. She gets sick of my phone going off. It's about I have to throw it in the trash, and everybody's calling me trying to get it over here at Flowery Branch. So I take that. That's a great thing as a head coach. Biggest thing I look for in assistant coaches, number one, guys that love kids. If you really have a passion about the guys you coach, they'll do anything for you. That's the biggest thing I look for. Good men. We need society. It's so easy now. There's so many pitfalls for young men now to get into with technology and our phones and all that nowadays, that we got to have guys that demonstrate what it means to be a great father, okay, a great husband. Our society, we're really lacking in that right now. And I want guys that demonstrate that more than anything. And then the football stuff will take care of it. We're going to have guys that know football, teach football, and love teaching football.
That's a great answer, Coach. And I would love for everybody sitting in front of us here to go and play college football. But, in reality, high 90% of our high school players aren't going to play college football or beyond. But the leadership skills that they're developing, how to be young men, and you and your coaching staff, we're hoping, and we know based on the people we've talked to about
right.
you and your background, that you're going to develop these young men both on the football field and to be better employees,
right.
to better fathers, better husbands, which is the most important thing in their character as you're being their head coach.
Right, exactly. No doubt.
This may be a loaded question, Coach, but from your experience, you've obviously been Coffee. You mentioned Gainesville, certainly East Hall, most recently Union County. How would your players, these multitude of players that you've had an opportunity to impact over the years, how would they describe you?
They're going to use one word, it'd be passion. Passion. Passion for people, passion for the game of football and what it does to make better men. Yeah. That's easy. Easy question, easy answer.
And I'm going to add to that a little bit, Ethan and Coach, that, being from Gainesville, and you and I found out that we know a lot of people in common, and it's calling some of the people who know you and know your background and your character. Passion was a word that some adults, not just past players, but adults use to describe you and the way that you handle yourself amongst your football teams and your football players. So passion is a great word, and I heard it many times when we were vetting out people. But the passion of Coach Michael Perry is well out there. People understand it, so that's nice to hear.
I want to take a moment to, again, thank Frank and Tyler Harney on the wonderful venue they have for us here. We're in the beautiful dining room here at Stonebridge Village Chick-fil-A. So come out and support Chick-fil-A anytime you get a chance. Frank and Tyler are great, and we appreciate all the support they've given Flowery Branch High School over the last 23 years. So, Coach, how do you stay updated on all the different trends? You mentioned social media earlier, but, of course, there are coaches' clinics. There are all kinds of opportunities for other coaches to pour into you as a coach. How do you stay updated on sort of the latest trends of the sport?
I think it's easier now than it ever has been to educate yourself about the game. There's so much out there, and you have to be willing to go find the information. One of our favorite things to do is we make pilgrimages every summer and go study the latest trends and what's going on in football. Because football is always changing. You can't just do the same thing you just have done 3 years ago. You've got to always learn more, do the latest. I mean, RPOs are such a thing now, and it's exploded with that. And you got to be able to defensively. There's things you got to do to take away that. So it's a whole football program, but we're always willing to learn. And one of my favorite things about this is going and learning the newest trends out there.
So we're talking to Flowery Branch's newest addition, head coach Michael Perry. And so as we talk about all the different communication styles that are out there, how do you prefer to communicate with your players, with your parents, certainly with your booster club, the Touchdown Club here at Flowery Branch High School? How do you prefer to run that communication?
Face-to-face. Another thing that guys got to be able to have a successful future in employment, they've got to be able to look other individuals in the eye, okay? They can't just be on a screen all the time. If you're on a screen all the time, I mean, you're not developing any social skills that are going to enhance you in your future. So I'm big on looking someone in the eye and communicating directly. That's kind of how I operate. So
let's talk about the football program going forward, Coach, and we plan to have you in the building around March 1st. But talk about plans for the weight room.
Yeah.
How are these guys, what are your plans to make them bigger, faster, and stronger between now and August when football season starts?
So everybody knows who Bill Belichick is. Bill Belichick has this famous thing he always says: big people push around little people. And that's basically what football is, pushing around people. So my strength coach, Lynn Marsh, has been with me from Gainesville, Centennial, East Hall, Union. He's coming to Flowery Branch. The guy, one of the things I look for always, and the thing you'll notice about Coach Marsh is when you see him, you can tell he's in the weight room. That's one of the big, when you look at a strength coach, telltale sign for me is, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about because he looks the part.
No neck.
Right, right. You'll spot him a mile away. So, but
I think that guy was my gym teacher.
But just a great guy. He's always learned the latest trends, going to Clemson, going wherever. He's a big Clemson guy, unfortunately. That's his only downfall. But he's always meeting up there with the strength coaches there and always trying to get better. And that's what we ask our staff to do, always try to get better.
That's great, because there's been a big question from a lot of our players and our community people about that's an area that we want to get better in, is the weight room.
He does a great job of individualizing a workout plan for the individual. Because there's guys that are going to have to gain weight. There's guys that are going to have to lose weight. Not everybody needs to be on the same program. There's guys that, like a quarterback, doesn't need to do what a lineman does. So it's very specific, position-specific oriented, and that's kind of how we do things. And I know he's crunching at the bit to get these guys throwing up and ready to pass out. So
I'm going to follow that question up with what are the plans for recruiting our players? Talk about high school kids getting recruited, and I know that we've had a couple coaches come through the school in the last week. Talk about helping kids get recruited.
Man, recruiting, it has changed so much over the years, and especially now, in the past couple of years with the transfer portal. But what I tell people is this, is if you want to play football as bad as you want to breathe, we'll find a spot for you. Okay? If you want to play football after high school as bad as you want to breathe, we'll find a spot for you. It may not be at the D1 level, all right, but there's a spot for you. But understand, it takes some educating players, it takes educating parents, that there's this magic chart they all invented, Division I guys, Coach Saban, Coach Belichick, and now everybody copies it. Okay, every position they have a height, weight, 40 time, and what you squat to be Division I and lower. So our kids are going to be educated on that, what it takes to be at that level. And I want guys that have dreams and aspirations to play at that level. But also, we're going to educate them and know, all right, man, you're playing corner, you want to be a D1 corner in the SEC, you better be 6 foot, you better weigh 185 pounds, you better run a 4.48, and you better squat at least 405. So,
Right.
Phenomenal opportunity here at Flowery Branch High School as well. You've got a great group of athletes. You see your class of 2026 right here in front of you. What do you say to that student who doesn't know he's a football star yet? That kid that's walking the halls, that's got the size, got the weight, probably got the drive, just hasn't stepped onto the gridiron yet. What do you do to recruit within-house? Because there are lots of athletes at Flowery Branch High School that hadn't made it out to the football field yet.
Right. I mean, that's one of the biggest things in high school. You got to get out in the halls. You got to get seen and put yourself out there. Same thing for all our assistant coaches. You know, if you're a male and you can walk without tripping and falling down, then by God, we're going to ask you to play football.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we approach that, and it comes down to like anything else, relationships.
Yeah.
Our assistant coaches are not just going to be football coaches, they're going to be great teachers. So informing those relationships in the classroom go a long way. So that certainly helps.
What are you challenging these seniors to do in the locker room to be your sort of eyes?
Biggest thing I don't, there's a difference in being real and being a poser. And I talk, there's poser coaches and there's poser players. Real coaches and real players work in silence. They don't have to put anything on Instagram showing that they're doing this in the weight room or that. Nobody cares. That's what you should be doing, all right? And somebody's real does their work, and they don't look for the attention of others. You have a goal, well, your habits in life your habits better match that goal. And so that's what we're going to constantly talk about. And I'm going to have, like, one of the biggest things, I'm not there till March, but I'm going to have my little spies on in these guys in the weight room and see who's for real and who's just a poser. And that's basically how it is. So
I'm going to follow up a little bit about the weight room, Coach. And another one of the questions that was asked that we're going to touch on tonight is nutrition.
Right.
So in talking about the weight room and the importance of the weight room and getting bigger and stronger and faster, what are the plans for Flowery Branch High School and our football players to supplement their workouts?
Right. So data, of course, says, and most people know this, but within 30 minutes after a workout, you've got to ingest food. You've got to get calories because you've just spent a ton of calories. All right. And there are guys on certain plans that need to gain weight, lose weight, vice versa. But you've got to have that protein and the good carbohydrates within 30 minutes after that workout. Depending on resources, I mean, that can be done through protein shakes. It can be done peanut butter, jelly sandwiches, and chocolate milk. But you've got, one of the things I love NASCAR. And you watch NASCAR, you know, they go around the track and track and track. They don't have big gas tanks. They got to go in the pit and get filled up. So, like, we're going to educate these guys. They're going to have to eat at least 6 small meals a day. You got to constantly feed your machine. Another thing is that we're going to do whatever it takes, all right, to make sure that we have the latest, greatest supplements, whatever that is, protein-wise, and have that for an opportunity for our players. We want a first-class experience for these guys. If they put in the time, effort, and they're going to blood and sweat for Flowery Branch High School, by God, we're going to do everything we can to make sure they fulfill their dreams, whatever that is.
So our senior rep on the Touchdown Club, Shonda, had that very question. What are your plans for nutrition plans for the athletes to implement those? And so hopefully we answered Shonda's question tonight. Don't want to go another second without mentioning, speaking of nutrition, the great folks here at Chick-fil-A Stonebridge Village. We got Frank Harney over there and son Tyler doing a great job feeding our Falcons and getting them fueled as well. So, Coach, I had a question. Let's talk X's and O's. I know this is probably way too early to start talking about this, but tell me about defensive schemes. Do you have some ideas there? What do you like to see on the defensive side of the ball?
I can't say names yet because it's not official, but got a defense coordinator who's coming who's won 3 state championships in a row. That tells you one thing, that he's coached really good players, but he's also knows exactly what he's doing, and he can handle kids. So very excited about that, and I can give out more information on that as that becomes official later. But the guy's on top of it. Defense, offenses are so sophisticated nowadays with the RPO game, screen game, quick game, intermediate. I mean, sacks aren't even a thing anymore because offenses are so good in quick game of getting rid of the ball. But it's about stopping the run and affecting the quarterback. And defensively, like our secondary, we can't just align in the same old thing where the quarterback, who's been coached like he should, can understand exactly what the defense is in. And it's like, okay, they're covered 3. I'm going to hit the seams right now. All right, so we've got to, make our defense, we're going to be multiple. But we got to disguise our coverages, and we got to get after the quarterback. Yeah. I've coached quarterbacks my entire life, and I want to make it a living you-know-what for that guy during the game. Yeah. If they get comfortable, you can't make them comfortable. Yeah. You get them uncomfortable, you're going to be fine.
And I seem to remember you coached a quarterback from across town. I think they named a street after him over there. So
yes, sir.
Your experience on the offensive side of the ball certainly lends itself to what Flowery Branch wants to do. Tell us a little bit about your offensive schemes.
Yeah.
Some ideas there.
So learned this a long time ago. Shannon Dawson, he's the offense coordinator at University of Miami. He's a really good friend of mine. I knew him when he was a nothing coach. Now he's the offense coordinator at Miami. So me and my brother Tyler would go every year to go learn. When he was an assistant coach at West Virginia, he was at Kentucky, Southern Miss, University of Houston, and now he's at Miami. But so we love learning ball, and he's one of the smartest guys I know. Forever indebted to him, and learned a lot of ball from him. So
the 3 facets of the game: offense, defense, special teams. You got to win at least 2 of those. So
right.
what are some ideas you have for special teams looks?
Yeah, special teams.
On special teams.
Yeah, special teams. Our best players play special teams. It's not a playoff. You think about special teams, it's one play and done. Where in football, or on offense or defense, you got 4 downs. But in special teams, it's one play, and that one play matters. If you get a blocked punt, you got an 88% chance of losing the game. So special teams will be a priority, and our best players will play special teams.
Yeah, Coach, we've touched on offense, defense, and some of these guys out here. I'm looking out at some of your upcoming seniors, and let's talk about the leadership. How is your leadership reflected on these guys, and what kind of leadership are you expecting, especially out of your senior class?
I talked about it a little bit, about culture, connecting people positively. I can't stand negative people. Being negative has never solved one problem in the history of the world and mankind. You got to be positive, and you got to affect people and impact people in a positive way. No one accomplishes anything by themselves. Okay, no one was just born great besides Jesus Christ. Okay, the rest of us, we have many faults. So we got to surround ourselves with many great positive people as we can. But that's kind of the leadership. What you see with me is what you get. Being a football coach is kind of funny. One of my favorite things, everybody's seen Remember the Titans. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene where they're all just hugging Denzel Washington, going nuts. And he's like, whoa, calm down. I'm not Easter Bunny. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm just a high school football coach, and that's me. I'm not going to be one of these guys, that has my picture on things. It's going to be, I want the pictures of the guys that play football that bleed on that field for me. That's who's going to have the graphics, because it's a player's game. I played a long time ago. Nobody cares about me anymore. So it's all about them, and I want to do everything to enhance and make it the best experience they've had in high school, for sure.
Thank you. That's a great answer. And I'm looking at you guys, you rising seniors, and I see some guys in the audience here who I know have those leadership characteristics. And being a positive person, like Coach Perry said, we've got you the guy. And then we've got you the guy to lead you in the right direction on the field. But what you guys do in the locker room, man, this is very important, and you're going to help. You're going to help lead those younger guys. And I'm getting off on a direction I didn't mean to, but I'm challenging you now. Be the leaders that I know that a lot of you guys can be, Ethan.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, football, you run the gambit of emotions. You've got to keep your students grounded, your football players grounded when you have a big win. You got to bring them up and motivate them when you've got a big loss. And then, of course, everything in between matters as well. So from the losses where you have to motivate through the wins and the victories that you see on the gridiron, how do you kind of keep that balance as a coach, as a program, as a culture?
That's a great question. It goes down to your core beliefs, what really makes you you. You got to be the same guy, whether you beat somebody 50-0 or you just lost somebody 50-0. You have confidence in yourself, and what you've done, and what you're about, and you stay true to your culture and your beliefs. You do that, you ride the roller coaster, because there's always going to be up and downs, just like life. I mean, that's why it's the most realistic game out of all the sports that God created, because you're going to get knocked down in football, and it's all about how you get up.
So I know you don't want to make it about you, but I'm going to ask you a question about you. What are your goals as a football coach for you personally, professionally, for your family? What are your goals? What do you want to see out of a relationship that you would have here with Flowery Branch High School?
I want to finish my career at Flowery Branch High School. I'm from Hull County. This is where I want to be. I was at a great place. Union County was a great place. There's so many great people, great kids, but the opportunity to come home, be in Hull County. And when you talk about Hull County football, like, I'm a big history guy, I remember when Flowery Branch first started, and you couldn't mention Hull County without talking about Flowery Branch, the Flowery Branch Falcons, and what that was. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And I know it's got all the resources, it's got great people here, and we're going to get it done here, and I can't wait to get started.
So before we close, guys, I just want to tell everybody how excited we are at Flowery Branch High School to add Michael Perry as our head football coach. He brings great experience to you. He is going to coach you up hard. He's going to love on you, and he's going to make you better players and better young men. So speaking on behalf of Flowery Branch High School, Coach, we're excited, and thank you for coming to Flowery Branch.
Yes, sir.
And to building this football program back where we all want it to be.
Yes,
Ethan?
sir.
So last question, way too early.
All right.
New to the region, new to the school, new to the classification.
Yep.
Who you got circled on the schedule?
What I have circled on the schedule is March 3rd, because that's a Monday that I start at Flowery Branch.
There you go.
And I can't wait, and we're going to win March 3rd.
We're so excited to have you here. Welcome, Coach Perry.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, that's a wrap for our first edition of the Branch Report, everyone. Thank you again to my co-host and athletic director, Jimmy Lawler, to our special guest, head football coach, Michael Perry, to our business partner right here, Frank and Tyler Harney, great folks here at Stonebridge Village Chick-fil-A, our producer, Wesley Walton, and director, Christy Carter. For all of us here at the Branch Report, thank you again for tuning in, and until next time, go Falcons.